Hey vlog, my name is Eric Normand, and this is my vlog about my business called purelyfunctional.tv. It's been a few days since I've vlogged, and I just wanted to give an update. So I pushed a new design to the site. I was working on it last week, and over the weekend I pushed it live and also fixed some issues that it created, and went a little bit deeper into the reorganization, which required a bit of coding. When I look at it, it's not that much code, but it was deep in the bowels of the WordPress loop, as they call it. So it did take a bit of time for me to figure out how to do it. I'm not that familiar with WordPress. And I'm sure I'm doing it all wrong, like it's breaking everything. But, that's the way it goes. I'm sure in 5 years I'll be like, oh, I need to redo this. It's totally wrong, but I understand how to do it now. And, that's how you learn. People have been complimenting me on the new design, and so that is a relief. It's much cleaner, much nicer font. The typography is readable. Like, that was one of the worst things about my site, was the typography of the theme I was using looked okay in some circumstances, but when you just had text, like you just had a blog post, it was really bad. It was just hard to read. Like, paragraphs weren't spaced correctly, and it just was weird. And so now it's much more readable. I'm enjoying the limits that it's putting on me. You know how a good design is like, no, this is the way it should be. You need these big margins. And you're like, oh, but I want something big. What do I do? Well, I'm starting to get comfortable with the limitations that it's putting on me. The reorg is so one of the biggest complaints and requests that I get consistently is to where do I start? I don't know what you have, and it's crazy because sometimes I'll get on the phone with them and I show them, here's the stuff, start with the beginner stuff, and they're like, oh, just start with the beginner stuff? Yeah, just start with the beginner stuff. Like, to me, it's like they're letting the fact that they have to put a little bit of effort into making the decision of where to start. They're letting that be an excuse for not starting, like not learning Clojure. And that's my first reaction to them. But, then I realized, no, if people are having trouble, that's my job, is to help them. And so I'm trying, right? And I've tried a couple different things. I tried a big filter box that lets you say, I don't want to see these things. I don't want to see advanced stuff right now. I'm too beginner. And I've tried the learning paths, which is sort of giving an order for a certain topic. So if you're a beginner, this is where I recommend you start, and then this is the second one, and this is the third one. And it's kind of like the same thing as I have on the website, but it says at the top, this is for beginners, And I think that helps people get over that little hump of oh, I don't want to waste my time watching the wrong video since I'm just a beginner. Okay. But I still think that the site is doing too much. If you look at the header, it's got learn Clojure, join the FP community, get a job, and then, register, log in, about, that kind of stuff. And really, the site should just be about learn Clojure. all the other stuff should be secondary to that. And also there was this other distinction between video courses and guides and articles. And I want that distinction. I mean, the distinction is good because it tells people what they're going to see when they click on it, right? Oh, you're going to get a video here, right? But the distinction is not what you're thinking about when you're browsing. So you're not like, I want to read some text, so let me go to the text guides section. Or I want to watch a video, let me go to the video section. You're thinking, I want to learn Clojure. What do they have about the web, right? Web front end. What do they have? And so what I'm doing is, and I haven't done the navigation at the top yet, but what I'm doing is I'm taking all of the content, condensing it down into a few categories. And those categories are like the articles, the text guides. Articles are just like opinion pieces, kind of. And the text guides are more comprehensive pieces on a certain technical topic. So the canonical example is the Ultimate Guide to Clojure Concurrency, which is like an 8,000 word reference document about concurrency and Clojure and all the options that you have and how to choose between them and stuff like that. And I'll have one about the collections. It'll be like everything you need to know about the collections. All right, so the idea then is that I will present all of those separately on the page. And I'm doing this now. So if you go to a tag, for instance, like the Clojure script tag, it'll say Clojure script, and under that it's got the guides and all the guides with that tag, and then it's got courses and all the courses with that tag, and it's got lessons, all the lessons with that tag, and then it's got articles, all the articles with that, speaker interviews, all the speaker interviews with that tag. And in that way you see the abundance of content that there is on the site under a certain topic. And so if we don't have a course on that, but I wrote a guide, like, you can read the guide. And there's, you're not like mad. You're just like, oh, I'll read this. This looks good. As opposed to, before it was like, oh, you don't have a course on that. Oh, well. And then it had to be like, well, did you check the guide section? Did you click 4 times to get to the guides and then scroll through this big list, of guides and see if there's one that looks... No, like, that's not what people want to do. So, that is the new scheme that I'm working on. Now I feel like working on it a little bit more. I wasn't going to do much on it today. Just because I've been working on it for a few days and other stuff is piling up. I have some code reviews to do for some customers, posting those on YouTube. Those are pretty good, pretty quick. I can do each one in an hour at most. Let's see what else. Right, so I had some trouble with the podcast. I didn't understand the plugin that I was using, and I used the wrong feed link. So last night I noticed it and I made a change, like, quick, fix it. And then this morning I was like, I fixed it in the wrong way. It's not the long-term way to do it. So I refixed it. And so there might be some churn in the way the feed is fetching stuff, and people might see the same post twice. I hope not. I hope it looks like it's working so far, so it should be okay. But we'll see. People might have subscribed to the wrong link, and then they'll be on the wrong link forever. But anyway, the way I have it now is I can have multiple podcasts on the site, and people can subscribe to each one independently, and it will be good. So I hope that continues. We'll see. Last thing, Closure Sync. I am still waiting on transcripts on 8 out of 10 of the talks. So I'm using a site called castingwords.com. That's the service that does the transcription. Excuse me, I had to pick up the phone for a second. And normally the turnaround is pretty good. For instance, I think the first talk came back within a week. And so then I published all the other talks shortly after, and that was a month ago, and they're still working on them. Now I checked this box on the on the transcription service that said this is difficult audio. I think I paid an extra 75 cents a minute or something because it was difficult audio. And I also did the budget service because the first one came back so quickly. I do have to say that too. It set my expectations. I might have paid extra for a couple of them to be done earlier if I had known that. Of course, they can't know either how long it's going to take because of the difficult audio. But they say if you put difficult audio, we cannot guarantee any kind of delivery time. So that's what I'm dealing with now. I wanted to publish them all complete, that they each have transcript and slides and everything. But last week or 2 weeks ago, I had to publish one without a transcript because I didn't have it, and I still don't have it. Luckily, one came in a couple days ago, so I'm going to publish that one on Wednesday. That is Kim Creighton's talk. She also asked me about it because she wanted to have that too so that she could promote it. And then also without the transcript, I can't do the tweet storm. So I wrote up this process for how to do a tweet storm, which is basically you read through. Oh, that's something I have to do. I have to review my assistant's tweet storm. Anyway, you read through the transcript and you pull out tweetable content from it and make tweets in Edgar about it, and then they get scheduled up. And that way you got like a never-ending stream of, instead of just saying, here's the talk, Closure Sync, and then link to it, here's the title, Closure Sync, link, you can actually pull something out that's interesting. Like when BG was talking about how programmers treat themselves like they're doing accounting when it's more like a sport, like they should be training and working as a team and have a coach, like their project manager should be like a coach helping them get through like the difficult season, and that's pretty cool. And so I pulled out some quotes, and it's intriguing. Like, what do you mean they should be like athletes and not accountants? What does that mean? I think what he was using accountants for, just as a tangent, what he was saying is like, you learn accounting and you kind of are done, right? Accounting is a finite set of knowledge. I mean, this was, I don't know if that's true, but that's what he was comparing it to. That's the common perception of accounting, is that it's something you can learn once and then you just know it. Whereas programming is like, no, you're constantly learning new things and you have to keep sharp. And well, anyway. So yes, Closure Sync. There's still work happening in Closure Sync, And I still have that idea of making it a 2-day thing with 1 day of talks and 1 day of um, get down to business, just an open space, sort of like let's just get stuff done. I need to find a space for that. I want to keep doing it in the quarter. That worked so well, but I need a space. I want 200 people this time. I had 100 people last time. I want 200 people. So I need a space for 200 people that has enough. It's not 200 people like in one packed room. Like it's 200 people in 5-person groups, 5 to 10 people in different groups, and then breakout rooms. And so it's kind of a big space. And I don't know where that could be. So I need to do some research. I'm sure there's something we can work out. Maybe rent a paddle boat or something, like on the river boat. That'd be cool. Then you'd be kind of trapped on the boat, though. Oh, the sun is coming out. Kind of crappy weather the last few days, I have to say. The north, I feel sorry for them. Like, they're still in winter. We've had a bit of spring since February. And then this is the second time that it's dropped back down to winter temperatures. It's not really winter temperature now, but I'm wearing, look, it's something like 70 degrees right now. Around there, between 60 and 70. And New Orleans, because it's so humid, it just chills you to the bone to be in 70 degrees. Like I'm shivering right now. Look, I've got a merino wool sweater, like a sporty, underliner to keep you warm, a t-shirt, and then this hoodie thing, and I'm still cold. And that's, it's nothing like being in like 17 degree weather like they've got up in Canada right now. But still, we weren't used to it. I had to break this out. They were all packed away because it was 80 something degree weather last weekend. And now it's back down. So something's going on. But we're like, we lucked out for Closure Sync. The weather was beautiful. People, my favorite quote from the conference was someone got back home and they were like, oh, Closure Sync, the weather was so nice. Those extra 67 degrees really made a difference. That's my favorite. Okay, yeah. So we lucked out, but we got nice weather. It's just it's bone chilling. It's the humidity. It's like, there's more mass in the air. And so that mass can suck out the heat from your body. So those are my three things. I'm debating whether I should continue working on content. I shouldn't, because I say this every time. It's a shame that I don't have more content right now. It's always a shame that I don't have more content. But really, I say this every time that I need to work on what I've got. So I've got a list of stuff that I'm going to send to my assistant, actually, that is go through all of the courses, all of the lessons, and find all the ones that don't have an excerpt set, because the excerpt is what shows in the little box, so you know what you're clicking on. And then find all the ones that don't have more than a paragraph of sales text, because that sales text is what shows up in the description, the big text on the page of the course page. And if it's less than if it's long, it's okay. We can deal with it later. It's not a priority. But if it's short, it probably means I didn't think much about it. and it's not really selling what it's supposed to sell. So I want him to make a list of those and send them to me so I can write those up. Just go through them one at a time and write it up. And I noticed a little uptick in sales after I did the redesign. Could be a coincidence. I don't know. Who knows? You never know. You never know what it is. Just make continuous improvements, and one day you'll have a lot of sales. I've been really thinking about. I listened to a podcast. There's this service called It's All Gravy, or All Gravy, and what they do is they automate some parts of failed charges. So nice emails to people, but then they get on the they work it in a non-automated way, in a personal way, and try to work out a deal with the people, because what they find is that a lot of them are people who have some kind of struggle at the moment, just a temporary struggle, financial struggle, and so they if you can just work with them a little, like say, oh, well, you can pay me next month for the 2 months, right? Then they won't cancel. But if they cancel, they're basically gone for good. They're never coming back. So just having a human in the loop who can negotiate those kinds of things with the people, like, oh, what's wrong? Why didn't you pay? Oh, I had to cancel my credit cards because someone stole my identity, and oh, okay, so you just work it out with them. So I'm thinking about that, because I do get quite a few canceled, and it turns out that it's just they had a card that was not working anymore, and they let it lapse. They just didn't realize that they still had the service. So I'm gonna go check them out, see what their pricing is, because churn is quite the killer for a subscription service. You think, oh, I only lose 10% a month, but that 10% a month, because like next month you lose another 10%, right? Could kill you. All right, I'm logging off now. See you later. Bye.